I'm 36 years old, living in one of the poorest major cities in the US, and 6 figures of crushing debt. Welcome to Road to Fully Funded. I'm starting this channel primarily for accountability to myself. I was able to save a little over $15K in 2025 with my budgeting methods. In this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit about how we got here, do a debt confession, confront the real numbers, review 2026 goals, go over the plan of action, and reset my budget planner and binders. So if you're just starting your debt-free journey or you're just tagging along to watch this train wreck, please hit the like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This trip is certainly going to be bumpy, and these numbers are not for the faint of heart, but I'd love to have you all join me as we celebrate wins and crush financial goals. So get comfy, grab a drink, grab some snacks, maybe even a neck pillow, because this is going to be a long road trip. Now, before we get started or jump straight into the numbers, I do want to take a moment to tell you about how I hope my channel will stand out from some of the other budgeting channels. So we all know no two budgets or financial situations are going to be the same, and you may look at my budget, my debt, my financial situation or methods and think, you know what, I just can't relate, but no worries. Since my mom is also she's new to cash stuffing and budgeting, we will be sharing both our debt journeys on my channel, but of course not in the same videos. This gives us the opportunity to see different methods, different approaches to paying off debt. So today's video, we will only be looking at my debt journey, but mom's will be coming shortly in another video. Now let's dive into the numbers. Don't say I didn't warn you. For example, I have a moderate income and get paid twice per month with a extremely high debt. My mom is on a low budget, fixed income, and she is paid once a month with a lower debt. My budget is for a family of 4. Her budget is a single person household. She likes a real simple one method, like one binder method, and I like a good stack of binders. With a big focus on saving challenges. So there's sure to be a little bit of something for everyone between our different approaches, because there's no right way or wrong way. We just need to find our way. We'll start with my debt confession. I have the real numbers under here. I'm going to uncover them. I'll start with the total and then we'll look at each one. So for my debt confession, I'm going to show you the big number and then it has some breakdowns on it, but I am in $373,813 in debt. $263,524 is in personal loans, which is, in my defense, student loans, but it's not a good defense. And then $79,836 in real estate, $14,135 in other, $11,097 in credit card or consumer debt, and $5,221 in auto loan, for a total of $373,813, which is a scary number. But we're going to tackle it. Like I said, in my defense, the majority of that is student loans. Now, when I printed this out, the number somehow, I guess my interest is just that high. I don't know, but this is not always accurate because I get this from CreditWise. So this is the number that they had, or this number here is what they had, the 263,000. But when I go to my actual student loans, this was as of January 1, I owed $265,639.48. So this is slightly off, and obviously they don't use any change or anything like that, but this was the general breakdown when I got it off of CreditWise. So these are all my student loans. They are not consolidated. I was on a loan forgiveness program, and then this year it changed, or the rules changed, and all of a sudden they do not want to forgive my debt because I am no longer employed, even though I've done 10 years of public service. So I am starting from scratch now. Hopefully they'll change that rule and I'll be able to go back and they will count my 10 years of service. But as of now, I'm just assuming that I have to pay this off now. And originally I was paying 0 because of my income versus debt ratio. I was on an income-driven plan. I didn't owe anything each month, but it did count towards payments. And like I said, because I left that employment after 10 years of service, I went somewhere else, but they hadn't done the application yet for it. They said I had to be at the current employer to be able to, I had to be currently employed with them still to be able to get my loans forgiven. So they're saying that they are not forgiven now. So we'll see how that turns out, but I guess I'm going to be making student loan payments going forward. So that as it stands right now, looks to be $150 a month, but I don't know that that's actually true. And obviously they need to be consolidated at this point if that's what's going to happen. So that is that number, which in itself I know is outrageous. Now, because of that, they also are now saying that I am behind on payments. And so because of that, and like I said, being real and transparent, I'm going to put down this next paper. And I don't know that people normally show this, but I am going to show this today. And that is my credit score. So do not judge me. It is 598. And that was as of January 1, 2026. So again, in my defense, I dropped 100 points by them counting my student loans as late now, even though I was unaware I needed to pay them because I thought my loan was being forgiven. So since it is not, and I've spoke to them, and as of right now, I am not getting them forgiven. That is my credit score right now. So it is awful, but it was 700 before, fluctuating between 698 and 700 before. So this is what we're going to be working on this year because we need to get that back up. This here is the rest of my debt. So on here are my credit cards, my personal loan that I had taken out, my equity line for my home, my mortgage, and my car. So what I did was I put it on the sheet, and this is how every year I kind of work out what I owe or how I'm going to pay it down. I put all my credit cards here, or all the people that I owe, or I'll say people that I owe here. And then these are all the current balances right here. And at the bottom, I put the totals. So right now it's saying the balance is $97,481. But like I said, that does include my mortgage, it does include my car, and it does include my equity line, as well as my credit card or consumer debt up here. I have a personal loan, which I still have to figure out the number of what I owe now, because it's one of those loans that if you don't pay it off within a certain amount of time, then the number fluctuates because of the interest. So that I have to get a number on, but these are the ones paid off. So in the next column, I always put my minimum payment. Then the next one, I put the next payment amount that I'm going to pay. And then the amount that I did pay if I paid extra. And then I usually check them off, just like with a pen. I'll check off when I have paid them for that month. And I print one out for every single month. Well, I keep it on my computer, but if I print it out, I will check it off every month. Or if I keep it on the computer, I'll check it on there. And then these check marks are for the ones that I've already paid those credit cards off. So I've already paid off my Alta credit card. I've already paid off Credit One. I've already paid off Google. And I've already paid off my Upgrade, which was a consolidation of credit cards from in the past. I always put all the due dates on the side here. So these are when the credit cards are due. Their APRs to tell me whether I want to do Snowball or Avalanche. And then on the side here is when I'm estimated to pay, or when I estimate that I will pay off these credit cards. So it's not an exact payoff date because I don't, it's just too much math for me to figure out like the interest rate and stuff like that. Like how much would be with the interest rate and calculating it that way. But I just basically calculate it based off of how many, if I do like Snowball or Avalanche, around about when it will be paid off. So I'll show you guys or give you an example. So so this year when I did my Snowball versus Avalanche, so that's this column and this column, it actually turned out that it really didn't matter which way I went, because as you can see, like the first to be paid off, whether I'm going, so Snowball is always going to be the ones with the lowest balance due first, and you work your way up. And then the Avalanche is going to be your highest interest rate paid first, or your highest APR first, and then down to your lowest APR. So this one's, Avalanche is supposed to be faster and more aggressive, and Snowball is a little bit slower, but you get like instant, you know, payment, like you've paid it, so you know it feels good to know that you've paid something off, and you can see like a dent in your payoffs a little bit quicker. So but it turns out this year it really doesn't make a difference, because Avalanche and Snowball, the first one I have to pay off is Care Credit, The second one, the only two that are switched is if I go Snowball, I'll be paying my Home Depot card off first. And if I go Avalanche, we would be paying off my fiance's Home Depot card first. So it's either one. It's both Home Depot. They both have the same APR. But it's just about who has the higher balance. So then after that is Quicksilver, which is a Capital One credit card. And then the Snowball and Avalanche is the same for Target, and the Snowball and Avalanche is the same for Capital One. So I am doing the Snowball method, even though it really doesn't make a difference at this point, because it's only the two cards being flipped. But because I would prefer to have my card paid off first just because of my credit score. So since mine is the one with the lower balance, we're going to pay mine first. It's only a $40 difference in our balances over here, but it's, you know, it's worth paying off mine first to fix my credit score because his is fine. We are not married, so we do not carry each other's debt. So it is separate, but we are, almost everything is in my name. So he is on a lot of my cards and stuff like that. So it does affect his credit score, but it's just not to the same degree. So we need to get my score up because he only has like 2 credit cards and I'm on his, but they don't really help my credit score very much. So, and then as far as payoff, when I did the math of doing the snowball method, you know, it looks like we'll have everything paid off in 29 months. And that is actually including my car and my equity line. But that does not include my home, obviously, because my mortgage is a 30-year mortgage, and I don't want to include that in there because that would be December of 2042. So we're not looking that far out into the future. But so as far as snowball, you know, right now, because I am starting from last year, technically at the end of the year, this one is right now the amount that I paid this month for care credit in January was $155. I think that one will be done in May, and then what you do is you just take that number that you had. So originally it was the minimum payment plus the previous credit card's payment, and that totaled up to $155. And then once I make that many payments of $155 into the $717 and it comes down to nothing, then you take that number and then add it to the next debt, which would then be my Home Depot credit card. So and then it'll become the $155 plus the $145. I mean the $45, sorry. $155 plus $45. So we'll talk more about that in future videos, or how we're like addressing that in future videos. But as of right now, that's what we're working on. So care credit first, and in May, then we will be finished with that one, and or maybe earlier than May, hopefully, because we're gonna do some challenges and stuff. So that will also contribute. But as of right now, it is going to be that till May, and then Home Depot. So that is my consumer debt. As far as my car goes, I actually I'm in my last year of paying my car. I have a Honda Pilot. It was quite expensive. Embarrassingly enough, it was actually more than my home. So my payment is really high on that one. It's $861.91. And my mortgage is $739.07. So I actually pay more for my car than I do my house. And you don't have to shame me in the comments. I already know that was a silly mistake, but I'm on my 6th year and I almost own the car, and I may trade it in and just get a basic car now that my kids are almost grown. They're in high school and one's about to graduate. So, so I only owe $5,643 left on the Honda Pilot. So that one will be paid off by June of 2026, so June of this year, and then all that money will get to be rolled into something else. And so I'm not quite sure yet what I'm rolling it into. I'm probably going to roll it into my equity line, just that way I can use more of my equity line, because I do have more equity in my house than I did when I originally got that equity line. I have about 130 in equity once that's paid off. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to roll into that, but that's for, you know, come June, we'll kind of see where we're at with things and then decide where we're going to place that money, to be honest. Okay, and then, so we're going snowball, and then I guess I'll show you my budget planner. So I did change budget planners. So I was using, this is the Budget Mom from last year that I was using. I'm doing it the same way, but I just didn't really, I'm sorry guys if you guys like this one, but I didn't really like the covers and the things like that. So I was looking at other budget books, and I might end up going back to this, but it's just a little too big, a little bit too much, I think, for me. But I do like some of the pages, so I may incorporate them later. But right now, this was just too much for me. But this is how I was doing it, so you will see that I have it the same way in this new book. This budget planner I got on Amazon, and I actually like it pretty well so far. There's a few things that I don't like about it, but I'll point it out. But we'll just quickly flip through and then get to the monthly bills, but I'll just show you just kind of how it looks. So, and it was pretty cheap as well. So I have my goals here. We can just go over the financial goals real quick actually while we're on this first page. So my goals this year are to, well, not just this year, but for my financial goals for the future is I want to get 3 months ahead. I'm going to start saving for my Roth IRA, which I actually have already started, but we'll talk in another video about why I think I might have messed that up, but we'll look into that. But I've already made 3 payments into my Roth IRA. I want to pay my daughter's first semester tuition in full. I would like to increase my credit score by 100 points, and that's because you guys saw I am down 100 because of the student loans. Because they counted them as 27 delinquent accounts because it wasn't consolidated. So that's what dropped it 100 if anybody's curious about that. But I want to catch back up on my taxes because since I am a contractor, I fell behind on taxes and did not save enough. So I have back taxes owed. I would like to I'm actually going to change this down to 200K in private practice for 2026 because of my goal number 7. But so originally at the beginning of the year, I had said I wanted to make 300,000 in my private practice for 2026, but I'm going to change that to 200. And then I am in a solo practice right now. I'm coming out of I guess you'll call it a group practice, but it was just me and my collaborating physician. We're in a practice together, but now it's just going to be me. He's still my collaborating, but I have my own LLC now. So, so 200 just by myself. I do want to hire another provider though for passive income. So that would be, it's not going to be a physician. It's not somebody exactly equal to me, but they would just rent the space essentially, because I do have a brick and mortar, and they would rent the space, and then I would also collect a percentage of their patient visits. So I'd like to do that, and then I'd like to be consumer debt free by 2027, which looks like we will be on track for the end of, it looks like we'll be done in October of 2027 based off of the sheet that I showed you before. So those are my financial goals. And then it has like a mind map in here. I don't really use mind maps, so I'm not going to be using that, but they have a section for new skills that you want to learn to achieve your financial goals. Mine is I am going back to school again. I've already done, I think, 8 years of schooling, but I'm going back for, I think they told me I have to do 9 months to get a certificate in adult gero. I am a nurse practitioner, so our license are per specialty. So right now I only have one specialty for my license. So I'm going to go back for adult gero certificate. So that'll allow me to do a lot more and open more opportunities for me. As far as actions to earn more money, side hustles, which I do have a couple, but we'll talk about those later. I wanted to open a brick and mortar shop, but that's not for private practice. That is a brick and mortar I'm a vintage antique reseller. I've been doing that for 6 years or maybe 7 years now. So I'd like to open an actual in-person shop because I've been selling strictly on, mostly on Instagram. But I do pretty well over there. And then Like I said, I want to hire another provider, increase availability on my schedule, or I will increase availability on my schedule to reach the $200,000 goal. Sell on additional platforms because I was selling just on Instagram, but I'll be selling on Shopify and then back to Etsy again. And then do some consulting and PRN jobs, which a lot of my consulting jobs are either nursing homes or doing consulting for law firms. So as like a witness or as like an expert witness. So, and then to cut expenses, we're doing no spend days, no fast food, eliminating unnecessary subscriptions, which I'm going to show you next. We're going to negotiate for lower rates, pay car insurance biannually, and then keep online purchases in my cart for 72 hours and then reassess if I even really need the items, because I do that a lot. I'm impulsively clicking. Important dates page. I haven't done anything with that yet because I really don't know how I want to use that page. Here are my memberships and subscriptions. So before I show you this, I'm going to show you my other page, because on this page, so this is what I had at the end of 2025. So, and as you can see at the bottom, the total was $962.09 in subscriptions. Again, don't come for me in the comments, please. It'll make sense once I go through them, but technically these are all subscriptions. And that's a crazy number of subscriptions. So I highly recommend everybody go through your subscriptions, because you don't realize you have as many as you have, or maybe you do, but you realize you can cut some costs when you actually like list them out and see what you have. So, so we did keep Game Pass. Storage is a business. So I broke it down by entertainment and business. And then there's medical in there. Because it didn't seem to, it seems like it's a lot. If it was entertainment, yes, 962 is wild for entertainment, but this is not all for entertainment. So as far as entertainment, we are keeping Game Pass. Storage is a storage unit for my antiques and my vintage items, because I don't have a brick and mortar yet, so I have to have the storage unit. My medical provider, because I am a provider myself, I don't get my own insurance. I don't get insurance from a hospital anymore, because I no longer work inpatient. So I actually use a subscription service where I pay the doctor a monthly subscription fee. I can see them as many times as I want. They do labs, they do all that stuff, but I do pay monthly whether I see them or not. So it's kind of like your insurance, but it's a little bit nicer in the sense that you can do as many visits and only pay one solid amount. So right now it's $80, but because I just left a hospital as of last year, I will be added back to the plan. And of course my kids will be back on the plan now too. So this was just for my fiance by himself, because we're not married, so he had to have his own. So this is going to go back up to, I think it's $320 for a family a month. So that is why that's on there instead of being in my list of expenses. It's actually a subscription. So I count it as a subscription. So then I have Google One. Probably could get rid of it, but it's holding all of my kids' photos from when they were born and all that stuff. So I got to figure out where else to store that so that they're safe, because I certainly don't want to lose that kind of stuff. Netflix we did get rid of, so we were able to eliminate $8.63. Shopify is, again, for the vintage reselling business. Since I am expanding my platforms, I did decide to go with Shopify. It is $62.12 a month. We are keeping Peacock. That's the only one. We went through, we decided which movies and things that we wanted to see, what series were coming up. I am disappointed that I have to get rid of Dexter and Frasier, but I will have the rest of it on. Everything else that I watch on a routine basis is on Peacock. So I will just continue to use Peacock until that starts to run out, and then I can always switch to something else. But you'll see on here we have a bunch of like streaming services that I have gotten rid of. So we are keeping Peacock. We'd have to keep Spectrum because that's the internet. This is another storage space. This is WorthPoint, which is like an app that tells me the value of my antiques. So it helps me to price things. So I may get rid of that in the future, but I've always used this and it works well for me. So I'll see if I can find something cheaper, but right now I'm keeping that. Nest is for the home. So that does my like monitoring my house. The camera's outside my house, the camera's inside my house. So keeping that. Paramount is gone. Spotify keeping because the kids and my fiance use that. Greenlight is my kids' credit cards. They don't have bank accounts. They use Greenlight credit cards. Planet Fitness is gone. We don't go to the gym anymore. We just work out at home or walk around the block or do whatever. So we will not be doing gym this year. Hulu is gone, so we're saving $18.35 there. Amazon Prime is staying. And then, like I said, another Google One because my fiance has one and then I have one. And then Audible is gone, so we're not using that. So we did cut that down. Then on here, we're not going to go over it again, but here is all of the ones that are considered entertainment, and these are all my work ones. At the time that I wrote that, I forgot that I did have a Psychology Today, which is the app that I use for my practice. So it's actually like my private practice. So I have to keep, I mean, that one is definitely not negotiable. That's how I see patients who are virtual, but that one was not on that sheet. So that one is $29.95. But sometimes there's things where I can get like 3 months free. So I try to use that as often as I can. So this is all with the ones removed. I probably should have done a total, but we can always do that later. But, you know, at least 5 of them are considered business. And then the rest of them, we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that are not business expenses. They're just entertainment related. Then here's my bill tracker. It actually fills an entire page. And I know that looks scary. But this does include all of the subscriptions, work and or business and home related. And the total per month comes out to $4,002 for my bills and subscriptions. So that is before any kind of, I mean, that includes variable expenses, but that is all my credit cards and utilities and then subscriptions and things and work related subscriptions. And then in here it also has savings trackers. I don't think I'm going to use those because I just use regular savings trackers like these kind in my binders. So I don't feel like I really need that, but I am using the debt tracker in here. So all of the credit cards that you saw on that sheet, I will write them in here. So it has a starting balance, the minimum payments, and then the amounts that I actually paid in the balance. And we'll just watch them go down and hopefully eliminate them. But I do have 3 pages or 3.5 pages of those. And then it goes straight into the calendar. So how I do my calendar is, and what I liked about this is it has no dates or anything in them. So I put the January in there. I put all the numbers in there. So you can really make it what you want. They don't even put them on the tabs. You actually add that yourself. So I'll show you real quick with this one. And sorry for the squeaky chair. So it came with these stickers. So I just, take my tweezers, pull them off and put them at the top. So it has all the months here. I don't think I'll be using any of these receipts and bills. I doubt I'll use any of the holidays or any of those stickers, but it did come with that, which is nice if you have enough room in here. But this one's kind of small compared to like the Budget Bomb is much bigger. These squares are a lot smaller. These are the numbers, so they coordinate with the colors on the side there. So I already had put all these on here for January. I'll put February's in there, which was the yellow, probably today or tomorrow, but we can do that together on a different one. It does have these cute little like sports ones and things like that, stickers at the bottom, but I just feel like there's not much room left on here after I put all my bills on here. So and then these come off and they actually have like a line in the center so that you fold them around the edge of your tab, so it goes on both sides. So when you pull it off, you're just bending it around the tab there. So, and like I said, I just don't see myself using these stickers. I'm just not big on decorating it. And then it's got the holidays. Again, they're kind of almost as big as the square, so I don't have any room for bills if I put those stickers on there. So I likely will not use any of those stickers except to do my month, my dates, and then the months on the side here. So how I normally do, this is the same way that I'm pretty sure the Budget Mom does it this way, is that I basically list out all my expenses. So I get paid on the 15th and the 30th of every month. And then I have some, you know, my side gig stuff, but I don't include that in here. And in future videos, I'll explain why. But so in light blue, so this whole month theme is blue because it's January, so winter. And then each month I change it. So like next month I'll do like shades of pink, and it'll be different pink colors for, whoopsie, for this month. But I do one color for 1 through, because whatever I get paid on the 30th of December then was used all through here. So all the bills that are due all the way up till payday are in this color. That way I know how much needs to come out of that paycheck. So I always put the card that's due or the bill that's due and then the amount below it. And so this one has like 3 on this day, 3 on this day, 1 on that day, 1 bill on that day, 2 on that day, 2 on that day, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, and then payday again. I usually write in the amount that I'm paid here because I didn't, and I'm not hiding it from you. It is on another page and I'll show you that. I don't mind telling people, like I said, I'm being completely transparent because how can you look at numbers if we're not transparent? So these numbers probably don't make sense if I don't share how much I got paid or how I'm able to make that work. So, so the number's not there, but I will be writing that in. And then normally what I do is I'll put like a little, I have the dot markers and I'll put the little dot there and check it off when it's paid. But I just fell behind on January because I was trying to figure out what my setup was going to be. So these will all have check marks once they're paid. And then normally I put the amount that's due, but if I end up paying more, so Care Credit was the one that we were working on, so that one was only supposed to be 30, but I paid 155. So at first it said 30, and then that's why I use pencil for this, is because the number does change, or I might have extra money, or for some reason the bill was lower, like Google Fi for some reason, my kids' cell phones was only $67.04 this month when it's normally $101, so it's $40 cheaper. So like I do it in pencil so that I don't have to keep crossing it out or whiting it out. So I write it in pencil. So I know it looks a little light on here and I'll probably have to zoom it in when I go to edit this, but that's how I do that one. And then I switch the color after payday, and payday starts here. So if there was anything due here, that would have both colors there, but switch colors. And then the rest of the month, end of the month is very light. First of the month is very, like, beginning of the month is super heavy in bills, and then very light in bills at the second half, which is usually where I end up doing a lot of my like extra savings challenges, or throwing extra money into things. And then I got paid Friday. So on the side, what I don't put on here is, because I said I don't have health insurance, I have to use subscriptions and pay out of pocket for all of my medical expenses. So therapy is $100, and I have therapy twice a week. And again, being fully transparent, I have to go twice a week. It's really not optional because of the type of therapy that I'm getting done. So, but when there's holidays, like one of my therapy appointments, so I'm always Tuesday, Thursday. So therapy fell on January 1st, so they were closed. So I don't like to put it on there, because if I cancel or my therapist cancels or it's a holiday and we can't see each other, then I don't owe that money, obviously. So this month I did have 8 payments, so it was $800 in therapy. Not great to have to pay it, but when I did the math to do marketplace and things like that, it just didn't make sense with my medical needs. My deductible was going to be so high that it works out better to just pay him out of pocket. And then I do see my psychiatric provider for my medication, and again, being fully transparent. And I will be super transparent about or I'm not, I have no shame in talking about psychiatry. I am a psychiatric provider, and I am not immune to, depression, anxiety, things like that. So, of course, I need psychiatric treatment as well. So that's what this part is for. But I do have to pay out of pocket because there is no subscription services for these kinds of things. So I do only see my medication management person every 3 months though. So it was $150 this month, but I won't see her until April now. And then this is where I'm just not sure. I'm not even going to go over this with you guys because I'm honestly not sure if I'm even going to use this one because I'm not thrilled about how it's set up. Because I really don't put like personal and like shopping and stuff like that. I don't really budget things that way, and you guys will learn that along the way. But like, I did put my income in there. So like my first paycheck that I had for the beginning of the month was $6,019.68. But then the second week, because I'm always 2 weeks behind, like insurance pays me 2 weeks behind, so at least. So because I did take off December, my vacation was December like 12th or something like that through January 4th, I had no patients during that time. So I only got paid $1,124.86 because I had like, within that same pay period, I did have like 3 patients or like 5 patients or something right before I did my vacation. So between the two, this month I had 7,000 and some change. We don't count my fiance's stuff in there because his all goes to his business. So all of his expenses, we'll see that in another video, but all of his pay goes to those expenses. And then I do get paid from my collaborating physician, which I haven't put a total of what I got paid from him this month, seeing the patients through his practice, but it was probably about 2,000 there as well. So I don't have a total for you guys. And I did not sell anything vintage or antique because I always take off the month of December from reselling because I need to focus on my kids and things like that during that time. So as far as I did want to address tell you guys how I manage like my utilities. So mortgage obviously always stays the same, but I always budget $100 for sewer, water, gas, and electric. So it's always $100, and then I wait till the bill comes in, and then I kind of move it around. But I generally will still only pay $100 because how our electricity and stuff like that is that, it's technically late, but there's really no penalty to it, if that makes sense. And I know that's a horrible way to operate, but it makes more sense in my brain to pay $100 all the time. And then either I've overpaid and it's sitting in the account, or I've underpaid and then I can always pay more. So like sewer, I was under by 123. So I did pay that, but that's because I had some extra from the water because the water ended up only being $55.85. And so I overpaid them. So then I had the extra $55, if that makes sense. So, and then like the phone bill, like I said, it went down $40. So I don't know the numbers. I have to figure out how I want to do this because it's generally not the way that I budget things, but you'll see how that is in the future. Groceries is always $600. I do $150 a week for a family of 4. And then that ends up being $600 per month, and I try not to go over that. If I do, I pull it out of spending, but that's all for binders and stuff like that. Like you'll see that in binders. And then business, this is really just counting the subscriptions. It's not counting anything else because it's just too hard to put all my, and I don't want to mix my personal finances with my business. So I'm still working on this page. I may pull from the budget bomb. I might have to end up doing hers, but then there's an expense tracker. I don't really use that. I just look at my bank account and then adjust my numbers accordingly. And like I said, I don't know how I'm going to do that one yet. I always keep my receipts from shopping, and usually what I do is I'll highlight anything that was like, this is all Valentine's stuff, so I put it in pink. So that comes out of my Valentine's Day budget, not out of my spending for food, even if it's food related. If it's for Valentine's Day, that's coming out of Valentine's. And then Gray I have for my fiance buying his what I call syntax, which is like if he buys beer, so that was beer on here. So I take that out of there and I only count what is actually from our, like what we're eating for the week, because we're really good about doing eating from home at the beginning of the year, but every July it seems like we fall off the wagon and we end up getting fast food and stuff. But we, for the most part, are able to avoid restaurants and fast food till about July, and that's when my daughter's birthday is, my birthday is, my brother's birthday. We all have the same birthday, so we end up going out a lot, and then there's just a lot going on at one time, and then of course then we get in a full swing of all the holidays and we just kind of fall off the wagon at that point. But for now we are still have managed to not buy any fast food or go to any restaurants so far, and that's usually how it goes at this time. And that's pretty much it for the binder. And then it's got this cute you know, it's a not a budget, it's a life plan. They're at the end of every, so you get like 2 sides on here for your receipts. Oopsie. 2 sides on here for your receipts, and then the little saying or quote there, and then it goes into the next month. So that is the budget planner. And then of course my goal was to start the IRA, which I did. But we'll discuss why I think I messed that up afterwards, or in a different video. Okay, next, I don't think we really need this piece anymore. I might actually make this into 2 videos, so if it kind of ends abruptly, that's why, is that I'll just make it into a second video. But I think what we'll do is I'll show you my budget binders, and then I'll show you budget binders that I had before, and then how I'm going to change them this year, like what worked and what didn't work. So what I'm adding this year is obviously the IRA. I'm doing additional high yield savings accounts. I know a lot of people have buckets, but mine doesn't have buckets, so I just have to open a different account for each one, which is no big deal. And then I have 2 business binders that I added this year, but there's actually, so I started with 3, and then there's 3 that are new. So we'll kind of be like unboxing, but I already kind of unboxed it so that it went faster in the video. So so I'll show you what I had before, what my setup was before. So we had, this one is my wallet, and in my wallet, actually we need to go from this way, sorry guys. So in my wallet, I got this cute little keychain. This came as a free gift, and then so did this. So this one's from Blossoming Prosperity. I actually got this last year. I probably need this one replaced because I carry this one a lot, and I think the weather is what kind of warps that there, but I'm going to replace that one eventually. But so I have gas in here, groceries, toiletries, cleaning supplies, entertainment, movie night, date night, restaurants, fast food, coffee, decor, treat yourself, miscellaneous, and then I just have some extra ones in here in case I need them. But for like savings challenges and things like that, I just needed more space, so I put them in here so I didn't lose them. For a lot of these right now, I'm going to be keeping these all the same, but like restaurants, unlikely to get any money. Food at this time, fast food, unlikely, because like I said, we're trying to eat 100% at home. And same with coffee, trying not to, I used to drink Big B or Starbucks every single day, and it cost me $300 some a month. So goal is to just not do that at all, but I might occasionally, I do have a savings challenge for coffee, so I may do that just so I can have a treat every once in a while. But the rest of them will stay the same. In this binder, I do have some, because I do want to, everybody who's given me free stuff, I do want to, with my purchases, I want to be able to show you guys. So in this binder, I do have, so these I got free from the Plan Dollar. They're just placeholders, so those are $500 in the bank. I did get from Blossoming Prosperity when I got these, a Winter Wonderland and a Winter Savings Tracker. And then I also got, so not that I don't like these, but I do like the vellum ones better, but I will still use these. But my plan is to start actually doing the smaller savings challenges. I'll show you guys what I do for savings challenges, but generally I don't do these minis, but I will be starting to do minis this year, so that's going to be new. But I got this vellum one from Blossoming Prosperity, and that one is for the Chinese New Year, which I believe already passed, but we'll still use it. And then I purchased this one from her, and that's the Leo, because like I said, I was born in July, my daughter's born in July, and my brother, I have a twin brother, so we're all born on the same day, so I have a Leo tracker. And that is all that's in my wallet, so that one won't change this year. That's going to stay exactly the same. For the other one, this one is, it kind of became a, like I said, in July, it just became complete chaos. So things are in here that shouldn't be in here. It was originally a low priority, I believe, and then it kind of changed to a mix of low and high. So I'll just show you guys what I have in here. These binders, I don't remember who I got the first set from. I think it was Milf and Money, I think is who I got 3 binders from, and then the other 3 I'll tell you about once I open those. But and then I got this cute card. This one's from OK Plans. It's her thank you, but I love it as like a little decorative piece in the binder. But these I did purchase last year, so there's the 500s and the 1000s from the Intentional Dollar. So I have those that match kind of the floral theme of most of my binders. So those are in there. And then, so I have charity, lawn care, BMV, fees and tags, dog tags, birthdays and holidays, travel, legal, medical, work, beauty, entertainment, school. And then I have shopping trackers for Amazon, Etsy, and Target, because that's really the only places I shop. And then this was for my daughter for senior year, which we're going to continue. We already took some of it out. Well, we took it out at the end of the year and spent it, but she still needs these things, so we'll be adding to these again. These are from the Plan Dollar. So senior year photos, senior days, the yearbook we already paid for, so that one's technically done, so I'll save that for my son now. And then prom we still have to pay for, and graduation we have to pay for. And then behind that are all the holidays. These are from OK Plans. Hopefully there's not too much of a glare on there, but Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then gifts in general. So that's what was in this binder. But like I said, this is going to get broken up because it just turned into complete chaos, like I mentioned. So then I had 2 other binders, and then I think what I'll do is I will technically 3, because we have Rob's binder here too. But Rob's binder is empty. That's my fiance. So and this is what happens when you give a man his own binder. It is messy. I don't know if that's grease, fingerprints. He's got his vellum envelopes are pretty messy. And even the outside, he's got it a bit dirty, but we're going to redo that binder. But we did have that one last year for him, for his wallet. And then this was the last binder besides my savings challenges. And this one had the dogs in it. Each of them had, I got this, it was like a set from OK Plan. So food, let me back this up. Food, treats, toys. I didn't have enough envelopes at the time, so they were front and back. So toys, accessories, bedding, pet insurance, vaccines, emergency, vet, the aquariums. We have 2 at the house, so we don't spend a lot on it, so it's low priority. But clothes, medications and vitamins, car maintenance, car repair, home repairs. That's driving me nuts. Let me just push that back there. Home improvement, and then this is our month ahead. Also by OK Plans. I think it came in a set as well, but I think you got to pick your, like, which ones you wanted. So I have rent and mortgage, water, electricity, heating and cooling, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, subscriptions, internet, and phone. And then I did have a freebie in the back here, but I think I damaged it by having it out. I think it's weather related. Started to curl, and it's a $20 savings challenge. So that's all that was in that binder. And then my last binder was, and this one he had a little bit of control of, so it does look a little messy, but I had my dollar savings challenge. And then so how I was doing savings challenges, you'll see little slips of paper in each one. So what they were is I use, for my savings challenges, what I do is I use, I think it is squeaky chair, Elise, and I use her cash stash book. And so what I do is I was doing each one, which I ended up buying a second book, but so like this is the coffee one. So there was well, that was usually going into my wallet, but like, for example, this one was like weather. So I have one called weather in there. So I was just doing the challenge out of here and then putting the money into this binder, but we're gonna be doing it a different way this year. So I think what I'm gonna do is I think we talked about all the binders. Oh, and then of course, last year I had my 100 envelope savings challenge, and that one has already been restarted. But that was all the binders that I had last year. So I'm going to end this video, and I'll do a part 2. And in part 2, we will redo the binders because I have new binders. We're going to break up these. I got cute like dividers so that makes a little bit more sense. I got new, now I can't think of what these are called, but trackers for each section. So we'll put those in, and then I'll show you how I'm doing my savings challenges in addition to mini challenges. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and then we'll do part 2 because I feel like this one's getting pretty long. So that is it for this one. I hope you, like I said, will hit the like, subscribe. I don't think you guys really share on YouTube. That's more of an Instagram thing. But hit the notification button, and I will see you in part 2.